Welcome to the underground, you rebel scum. This is the American Expat. I know it's been a minute since we've done a live stream, but, I figured I might as well do this again because, But there's a lot to talk about, a lot going on. If you came here to hear about cameras and walking in the forest and the woods and springtime and all of that, we've kind of left all of that behind at this point because, there's all kinds of crazy stuff going on in the world that must be talked about, and people have an interest in that. Among those things, we have the guy that set himself on fire, the Air Force guy, Macron, who's the leader of France, if you didn't know, talking about sending NATO troops into Ukraine, Russia preparing for full-scale war. We have too much propaganda going around from both sides so that it's difficult to even know what is real anymore and who's pushing what which way. The border invasion, all of that coming up in just a second, so stick around. It's going to be an interesting one. Oh, you'll have to excuse me. I need just a little bit more of that caffeine today because, like I said, there's just too much crazy going on in the world for me to ignore all of it. But before I get into all of that, I would like to encourage each of you to join in the conversation. I'm not an expert at anything, if you couldn't tell from my videos. So do us all a favor, share your knowledge with the rest of us by leaving your comments down below if you're catching us after the fact, or by joining in the conversation. If you're here live, we'd love to hear what you have to say about these topics, whatever end of the political spectrum or whatever your beliefs happen to be. Don't be afraid. Share them with us. And don't forget that the like button, it hides down below this video. And, if you don't mind, if you agree or disagree or whatever, if you think this is entertaining at all, be sure to go down there and hit that like button or the thumbs down button. I'll take either one. It's all interactions in the end. What do they call that? Engagement, I guess is what they call it in the social media realm. You wouldn't believe these people that do the social media marketing stuff, the ones going to school, like that lady that blew up or I guess sunk the Bud Light ship. They live on this engagement stuff. It's all about the engagement on social media. I'm sure she thought she was going to get some incredible engagement for for Bud Light. I guess she did. Just not what it turns out that there is such a thing as negative engagement. But as far as YouTube is concerned, I guess that there's no real difference between thumbs up and thumbs down. That's just for me. Now, where to even start with this? Like I said, all of this is crazy. There's, like I said, the Air Force guy that caught himself on fire, that died. I don't mean to, that's such a terrible story. But I do have some things to say about that. Macron, the leader of France, talking about sending NATO troops into Ukraine I guess that's where we go. Russia stockpiling for full-scale war. The propaganda, the border invasion. I guess we'll start with the border invasion. I think it was the last thing that I talked about in a video. I didn't do a live show because I haven't been doing the live shows. I was trying to see, what I could do with the channel. At this point, I don't really care what happens with the channel because I don't think that it's gotten labeled. It has like a stigma to it now as far as its political leanings. So, Google and YouTube, they're never going to allow it to ever see the light of day. Which reminds me, Gemini, that's another one, the Gemini. And I'm not talking about the space program here. I'm talking about that ridiculous AI thing that Google put together where you ask it questions and it gives you horribly inaccurate information and produces libel and slander and all of that sort of stuff. Well, they had big plans for this AI. It was going to be in charge of the search results on Google. It was going to be in charge of, everything on YouTube. And now it seems that, if that's what's in charge, and it probably has been in the background all along, running things, which, before they announced it, sure, it was just fine because they just figured it was business as usual. Google is racist and all of that stuff, right? Did I say that? Google is a giant organization, and I'm going to answer in the likes of the AI now. Google is a very large organization, and it would be difficult to label them or No, I can't do it. I can't answer like the AI. Google. Yeah, well, their AI certainly seems to be racist, I guess is a better way of saying that before I get myself into legal trouble here. But yeah, the AI, you ask it to produce a picture of, George Washington, and it produces not George Washington, but some very crazy, I guess, strange rendition of historical figures. Anything that is not white, I suppose, which is a problem for people like myself. I come from Scandinavian stock, which means that, we're among the whitest of the white. And I guess that means that we're left out in the cold. But it's okay. My ancestors came from a cold place, so I'm sure that that's going to be just fine. We'll be able to handle the cold. Well, yeah, I'd love it if I could get some of that YouTube money. You get like the Mr. Beast people and all of that. I will never rise to obtain their level of incredibleness, but at least, now I can blame the AI. It's because of Gemini. It's in charge of the search stuff on Google, on YouTube, and that's why I don't succeed. It's not because I produce a sloppy product or something. It's because of this AI business. Anyway, moving on. Speaking of the AI and social media and all of this the stuff that is driving people insane, that's exactly my take on this guy that set himself on fire. Oh my gosh, it's cringe and it horrifying at the same time, because this guy, you can say a lot about the Air Force. I mean, I'm sure there are people here that are, they're from the Marine Corps that watch the channel. And by the way, if you get on here, Devil Dog, I want to thank you or somebody, I'm not sure if you gifted it to me, but somebody gifted me a channel membership for Devil Dog, which is quite entertaining. Oh, hey, Peter Ehinger, glad to see you here. What's going on with me tonight is I'm doing a live stream. I've got my caffeine, and I'm doing this live stream because apparently people like to watch live streams. So, yeah, we're doing the whole live stream thing. And like I said, so there's all these people. They get on the internet, and I would talk down or bad about the Air Force, but I better not do that, because there are probably people here that are members of that particular branch of the armed forces, and I would not want to denigrate them in any way. But, this guy is probably on the internet all the time. It turns out he's already made like calls for revolution and all this stuff before this whole thing happened. And I'm sure that his family, who have been left behind in all of this, would probably rather have him alive right now instead of burned and dead. And free Palestine. It's just, I don't know what to say about the conflicts that are happening around the world, but I definitely know this is not normal. What does the United States have to do with this anyway? What good is it for I know he burned himself in front of the Israeli embassy, but honestly, it's not going to stop the situation, and it's probably going to inspire a lot more violence. And I've heard plenty of people saying, I listen to Tim Pool and other people on the internet, and I hear them talking about it, that, this is still winter and we're already seeing this kind of craziness. What is it going to look like in the summer? Well, it's probably going to look pretty bad. These people they're unfortunately going to act as inspiration for violent trends. So it's going to get interesting, especially, this is like the ultimate, because this is an election year. People are going to be, driven insane by all of the advertisements that are going to be coming across the airwaves. And I guess people don't use airwaves so much anymore. They use the internet, but it's going to be on the internet. It's going to be everywhere. There's going to be a lot of negative stuff, and it's going to drive these people that are already driven insane by their use of social media into a frenzy. And who knows what's going to happen, but it's probably not going to be pretty. And we're all going to have to endure whatever it happens to be. And I have been thinking lately about all of this stuff on the internet. You think that you're on one side or the other, and few people realize that both sides are being played. So you have, let's say it's an outside country like China or Russia, and they're on there, they could be playing both sides. They want the people to be against Russia and the people that are for Russia, the people for Ukraine, the people against Ukraine. They're playing both sides because their goal, Ukraine is weak already. If they wanted to go full scale into Ukraine, they could probably take the entire thing very easily. But their problem isn't that. Their problem is the big bad United States that tends to stand in the way of everything. If they can create chaos here, and maybe it's a long shot, but these guys, I'm sure that, it doesn't exactly take a lot of resources to do what it is that they're doing. So they get on the internet and they just foment chaos all over the place. They do it through corrupt people in the government, corrupt politicians. Maybe I mentioned before about this whole border situation that we can get into here in a little bit. You have people, there's two kinds that are a problem. There's people that are ideologically aligned with the enemy, which we happen to have some of those in the current administration. And then there are super corrupt people that'll do what you say as long as you give them you meet their price, in the form of like Joe Biden and his types, which we've got a bunch of them. They can do it that way through those people, and then it's just as easy as getting on the internet and pushing these trends. Apparently, if you get on like Twitter, for example, I guess it's called X now, you get on there and 80% of the accounts aren't even real. They're just these sock puppet, bot accounts that are used to drive these trends. Have you ever looked at the trends on Twitter? My advice is never to get caught up in those trends. They're absolutely insane. They're all fake. Every time I see one, I could pull it up right now. In fact, I think I might. I'm just going to pull up Twitter and let's see. I'm not going to show you guys the screen because I haven't set it up to do that. Not because I'm hiding what I'm looking at here, but there's a bunch of ridiculous stuff here. So we've got. I guess it's too late at night. Let me go into the trends and see what I've got. There's usually something interesting going on. Shut it down. We've got, Michigan. I guess there's a lot. Donald Trump took Michigan, and that's another thing that's been going on. This Nikki Haley lady. I thought that she was going to be done after he beat her in her own state, and she's just holding on for whatever reason. I guess she's hoping that Donald Trump will go to jail or otherwise be disqualified so that she can get in. But yeah, he's winning everywhere they go. I don't know what she's done. It's like it's over. There was a guy that just got out that I didn't even know he was in. I didn't even know who he was. He got out. Why is she still in there? I don't know. I guess just to swallow up all the money and try and slow Donald Trump down as much as she can. Absolutely crazy. But chaos is ensuing. You get these, like I was saying, there's fake trends all the time. I'll see it like Donald Trump pops up on there or something, and it has nothing. It's just a bunch of people ranting and raving about how Donald Trump is too old. Now that's a trend that's kind of started on there. They've been trying to push it that, it's not really taking hold, that somehow Donald Trump is just as senile as Joe Biden. Oh, but he's not senile. I don't know if you guys saw, he went on some late night talk show thing and put some sunglasses on as Dark Brandon. So I guess that means that he's not gone. He's still there. He's still going along just fine, perfectly alert and aware of things. They didn't, load him up with drugs before he went on the show to get him to just have that reaction. Not at all. But, let's see. Oh, Peter Ehinger. Jay, are you going to move or stay in the USA? Right now it's looking like I'm probably going to stay in the United States. When I before seeing all this crazy stuff, it's understandable, right? I had a moment where I'm like, it was really nice living in a place where there was order and I didn't have to worry about all this ridiculous chaos or a government that's, purposely sabotaging the country and its own people. That's really, really frustrating to me to live in a place where that is taking place. And I think back to life in China and how things were out there, and it's pretty orderly. But then I remember how things went during the whole lockdown times, And I'm not so sure that I want to get involved with all of that again. Things can go south really quick. At least here I am an American, I kind of belong here, whether I like it or not. And I whatever it is that's going to happen, I'll be here to be part of it. I just want to warn everybody and let you know that you need to stay alert, that some of these trends on the internet about civil war and seceding from the Union, those are actually the same people that are pushing the other. They want that to happen. They want all the chaos, and they try to set up a situation. This is where I was going. If I were, let's say, China and Russia and Iran, I would probably come at this from different angles to try and move things in an impossible way. Like you go through the corrupt politicians in the government to sabotage people so they get upset with the government. You then encourage them online saying, we need to do the whole Civil War thing. It's coming. And, you attack it from different angles. But the goal is to cause that chaos. I'm sure it's not likely that they're going to succeed in creating a civil war or whatever. But that would certainly be something that would be beneficial to them. But the chaos is the goal. They want the chaos. They want the United States to be in such a state so that whenever it is that they do what they are wanting to do, if you believe the people here, the Russia's trying to take over the whole world or something, but whatever it is that's going on, they need the United States to be in a state of chaos. They don't want the general population to be in support of whatever war it is that's coming. And it seems that no matter what we do or what we want, we are being pushed in that direction, and we are going to have to deal with World War III at some point or another, because our leaders are just not going to back down, and they're just gunning for this conflict with Russia. I don't know if it's like we missed it when the USSR was a thing, and now they're like, no, we've got to have that was on the schedule, and it's got to happen. This has got to happen for whatever reason. So we're going to do the whole World War III thing, and then that will somehow eliminate the problems that we're facing, which I didn't know that we were facing with Russia, because I don't know what the end goal is there. I don't know if it's to reduce the population so we have fewer people as useless eaters, as they call them, these great elites, super elites, or whatever they are. But it seems to be that no matter what we do, we are going to be moving in that direction. And they would like to make sure that the population is not... I don't know if anybody knows about the art of war, but that's one of the things they say. You have to have the support of the people. So at this point, I don't think that the government could do anything. Any situation could unfold, and people aren't going to support or believe them. All credibility has been completely destroyed. And it's just another part of that chaos plan, right? If that's what it is. I'm not saying that I know that, Russia and China and all these people are in there creating chaos, but I'm telling you they probably are. And we've tried to do it to them, but they have been smart enough, at least in China, to, cut everything off so that nobody can get in there and mess things around. They have a little bit more controlled internet. I say smart. I would like us to have some freedom. Our government has been trying to do the same stuff, and it doesn't work here. It just creates trouble. We can't go that route. We should just have everything wide open, but maybe get rid of social media. Maybe stay away from social media. I'll tell you guys that much right now. The guy that set himself on fire, that's because of social media. That's because they've used it to drive people insane. I don't know, an American service member, he says he won't be complicit in genocide. As far as I can tell, we are not involved in that whole conflict. I don't know how, as a member of the United States Air Force, he was somehow involved or complicit in any kind of a genocide, but, that's what he decided. And he believed it strong enough that he would set himself on fire. Oh my gosh, it's terrible. I used to see the videos of the people in, the monks in Vietnam that would set themselves on fire and all of that, and think, how could someone do such a thing? I mean, I've known people who are monks, and I guess I understand the level of conviction that some people have. But when I see somebody, an American, that has nothing to do with this, we're not, I don't know what to say. It's just absolutely wild that somebody would be driven to that point. I feel terrible for his family, the people that have been left behind. I don't know how close he was to his family, but it's just terrible that happened. Hopefully Americans can come to their senses and back their heads out of their smartphones and the whole social media thing, and realize that they're being manipulated from all sides, and maybe start to think a little bit. I don't know what's really going on out there exactly, but I can tell you there's some manipulation taking place, and it's coming from all sides. And every time, whatever side you happen to be on, if you're on the chaotic side of if you're on the left, I don't want to call you chaotic and crazy, but if you're on that side, you're being manipulated. And if you're on the right, you're being manipulated, and you're being manipulated by the same people, I guess is what I'm getting at. Let me see, what did I have here? Yes, the march, the endless march toward World War III. No matter what you do, if it's not us, it's them. Now, even France, Macron is saying that NATO troops will go into Ukraine. It's like the Russians aren't going to back down, so I guess it's going to happen. They're not going to leave. I don't think that they're going to say they're going to leave at any point. So I guess that we're going in, and they're already talking about conscripting people. They're using different language, I guess, to make it sound nicer. But yeah, they're talking about drafting people in different European countries. I guess our plan here in the United States, or somebody at least was trying in our Congress to put in a bill about being able to enlist these migrant people that are coming in and give them citizenship, I guess. Just trying to find people, because they know, I guess, that most of the people that normally would sign up for the military to go fight are completely against the government now, whether that be because of our government. I mean, it is because of our government, but I have to wonder if some of that is because of outside forces using their influence to cause this to happen, so that the United States would not be as effective, I guess you could say, in its fighting against whatever this conflict is that's coming along. So just keep circling back to that it's because of them. They're, I'm sure they see it too. Like, we're headed toward this conflict. We need to do everything we can to put a stop to the strongest person on the opposing side. And those other countries will probably lose cohesion after the if they can. I'm not saying that they will absolutely make it so that the United States has so much chaos and trouble that we no longer have the will to get involved in the conflict. If they did succeed at that, then I guess, the whole alliance thing in Europe, they're probably not going to do anything. Nobody's going to want to commit their people and their treasure to saving Ukraine. So that would be over if they could bring us down. I don't know what's going to happen over the next little bit, but I see that all over the place. Now, this border invasion situation, I'm not saying that it's happened. I'm not saying that the United States has been invaded by a foreign military, but I do notice, and I made a video about it, that the opportunity is there, or has been there. I mean, if you wanted to get 30,000 people into the country, let's say, to go and sabotage things and cause chaos or whatever sort of situations, the opportunity was there. The government was complicit in making sure that the border was wide open so that they could come across without being stopped at all. And we've been completely set up. If anything is going to happen, we've been completely set up. The people that are in the White House right now have completely failed at their job, and they've been complicit in a lot of this stuff. By the way, I don't know how the signal is working on this, because earlier my internet was pretty much completely down. I mean, it was still connecting, but it was so slow that it was abysmal. I couldn't do anything. I couldn't. Just sending a message to my wife was like incredibly slow. So I think it's fixed. I'm not sure, but it seems to be working. So I guess we'll, I hope you guys, it says the signal is strong, but it said that same sort of thing earlier when I was checking it. I don't know if anybody else experienced internet problems, but they were very vague when I talked to them. The people that do the internet are like, oh, there's a tower or something that's being updated, and we can't give you a timetable as to when it will be fixed. They still haven't told me exactly what was going on, but it seems to be working, so I'm going to go with that. Oh, my goodness. So, yeah, the propaganda and all of that. Now, I got some interesting questions on a video that I want to pull up here. Or no, it was on I sent out a post, which if you guys are familiar, it's something you can do with your channel if you have a YouTube channel, asking for questions that I would be willing to answer. Let me see if I can go to this without the whole thing making a bunch of noise. Oh, come on. How can I get into my own channel? I can't even look at my own channel. There we go. Okay, community tab. Let me see here. I got 3 questions from somebody that I thought was pretty interesting that I would like to now answer in this live stream. It's from Sprodswell42. I posted saying, ask me anything. Did they really solder people in their apartments during COVID? This is a reference to my time in China. Yes, they did more than solder people into their apartments. In some cases, they welded iron bars, I guess like rebar stuff. It was like a whole makeshift thing, but I think these were cases where people continually broke their, they came out of their apartment, so I guess the police came and welded them in. It wasn't like they were going to everybody and like welding them into their apartment, but yes, they did. They absolutely did. In my case, we were told to quarantine twice, 2 weeks each time. And rather than that, because, we did not come out when we weren't supposed to, they just put a sticker thing on the door. They sealed the door and they, like sign it or whatever. And when you get food, they'll come and open the door when they come to check on you. And they did come to check on us. They would put a new one on the door saying, what date or when, whatever. And I got to just watch people walk around outside from my window on the 25th floor or 27th floor, I guess, and realized that I couldn't be out there enjoying the wonderful weather because I was sealed in my apartment by the local government. And, yeah, that was not a pleasant experience. But, yes, they did. They welded people into their homes. Let's see. Also from Sproswell42, did they really have that weird hospital they showed online? I'm not sure what hospital that's referring to. I'm guessing it's like the makeshift hospitals. That was really scary, actually. At the beginning part of the whole COVID thing, when I was in China, they started building these makeshift hospitals, and I walked by one of them. Not really. I was by accident. I found my way to it. And, back then, we had no idea what's going on, like the sickness thing and people supposedly dying all over the place. And there were a lot of people dying over there. But, there it is. They've got like this rapidly built temporary building. And I'm like, it was kind of scary anyway. Yes, they did have weird hospitals. They did have a bunch of weird stuff that went up really quick. It was a crazy time. I was seeing people being hauled off. You get sick, and then like a van shows up. People get out in hazmat suits and just throw you in the van and drive you away. And I guess hopefully you're heard from after that. But that was pretty scary. I got sick in the early part of it and just kind of stayed in a back room and didn't come out because, if you went anywhere at all, they'd come and check your temperature, and I would have been done. I would have been hauled off to who knows where. And I just waited for that to pass in the back room and, so I could come out. But it was really, really terrifying, actually. So that was one terrifying experience about it. Let's see. I see some comments coming in here. Connection is fine. Where is everyone? I saw the thing about my wife. She is going to be coming back home soon. She's not here at the moment. I am acting as the sole parent in the house at the moment, which is often a challenge. I'll say it's quite a challenge. I will never ever speak ill of any single parent who manages to raise even just one kid, because I can tell you it is quite a challenge. It is quite a challenge. When you have two parents in the house, things are much smoother. Definitely the way to go. My son, however, he is just asleep. He is asleep right now, and tomorrow he will go to school. And when he does, I will be able to work and get things done, I hope. Assuming that the internet works, and then I can do stuff. Otherwise, it's going to be raining, so I won't be able to do anything else anyway. So hopefully the internet just continues to work, and I am able to do my work while my son is at school, and that would be good. Let's see. I had where did that question go? Let's see. Is there a specific area in China where they speak English? Well, I would say yes, Hong Kong. If you go to Hong Kong, you will find that pretty much everyone speaks English. There are probably going to be people, they might pretend like they don't, but they probably speak English. Hong Kong. Shanghai, you'll find a very high number of people who speak English in Shanghai. Beijing, maybe not as much as Shanghai, but pretty much, you're going to be able to get by with English if you go there. I would say, for the most part, if you go to China and you need to speak English and you don't know Chinese, you'll probably be all right, because most of the signs are in English and Chinese. I mean, if you can figure out the app, like you can use your iPhone to get around. And let's say you take the metro, the announcements are all in English and Chinese, even in the smaller cities. So... Excuse me. So yeah, there are places, but if you're thinking of a place in China where they specifically speak nothing but English, I don't know that there's a place that speaks nothing but English, but Hong Kong and Shanghai are probably your best options. You might find a large number of people who speak English if you go into Guangdong province, because there's a lot of influence there from Western, like investments and that sort of thing. So you could probably go there, and you could probably get by with English. It's also one of my favorite parts of China. It's over by Hong Kong, too. So, Guangzhou, Shenzhen, and Hong Kong, that area. If you go to Macau, Macau, it was controlled by the Portuguese, so it's not exactly an English place, but English is pretty widely spoken over there as well. That whole region, you'll be able to get by, but specifically Hong Kong. It's the one place where I went into a 7-Eleven, for example, and I was surprised when they spoke English with an American accent at the place. Kind of threw me off for a second after living in the mainland for so long. But absolutely, there are parts of China that have English as the number one. Well, I wouldn't say the number one language, but definitely you could get by if you're an English speaker in most of China. Really, it's a handful. Yeah, my son tends to be a handful. He tries to bargain with me about everything. He'll be like, well, I'm like, we need to go and we need to eat dinner now. And he's like, well, I'll make a deal. It's always that. It's always, I'll make a deal with you. And I'm like, where did this come from, making a deal? I'll make a deal with you. You can eat dinner now and eat the food that I cooked, or else you can be grounded. That's the deal. But now his idea of the deal is like, I'll sit down and eat the dinner if you let me watch Dragon Ball. And then, I'll eat the food that you cooked. And it's like, is there something wrong with the food that I cooked? You don't like steak? You don't like pork chops or something? You just want spaghetti? He's quite a character, my son. But it's a deal about everything. I can't get away from it. It's like, you need to go and take a bath and get cleaned up. And then it's like, well, let me make a deal with you about that. And it's like, there is no deal. This is how it is. But it's always, and no matter what I do, it doesn't matter what I say. I threaten him that he's going to be grounded or whatever. It doesn't matter. He's still going to try to make this deal. He's always trying to bargain this and that. It's pretty crazy. But I'll give him this. He's pretty creative about things. He's very clever about all of this stuff. And yeah, he's something. He's sometimes too smart. He's able to use his I don't know. I feel like sometimes he can even, how would I say it? I have to wonder sometimes if he pulls that on the teacher, like, I'll make a deal with you. I'll make a deal. It's like, that's not going to work. I mean, in America, maybe it would. I don't know. The schools, what can they really do? In China, I know exactly what would happen. And he does too, because he experienced Chinese school for a little bit. You try to make a deal with that teacher, they're just going to, put your hand on the desk and slap you with a ruler. They still do that over there. That's what the deal will be. You don't like doing the schoolwork? Give me your hand. Or, here, you go stand in the corner for a while and think about whether you like that after I slapped you with the ruler a couple of times. See if you want to make a deal about doing the work. You're going to do it. This is what we're up against as a country. We have our schools falling apart because it's full of radicals. I don't know that the schools are really full of radicals. But then you have them over there like, you're going to do your math or else you're going to get slapped on the wrist or something. You better do it. So they're, driven to succeed. In ours, you don't want to be the guy that's too smart because then you're the nerd or whatever in the class and people make fun of you. In China, it's the opposite. If you're the one that's not, getting the good scores and you're not sitting in the front of the room, you're the one that's going to get laughed at. The nerds are the ones, I guess, that do well in the Chinese school sort of situation. Kind of the reverse of here. You want to succeed. And believe me, the competition is fierce. When you're dealing with 1 billion people, I see a spinning circle. Am I back? Is it working? Nope. There we go. Okay. I think we got it. Oh, man. That was wild. Okay. Yeah, nope. Am I still frozen? I don't know if I'm still frozen. The whole thing just kind of quit for a second. I don't know what that was all about. But it seems to be working now. Somehow I managed to get it. I figured when it shut down, that was it. I didn't even have to start up any of the stuff again. It just went right back into it. Maybe that's a sign. It's time to end this live stream because, the computer and everything else is deciding that it's time to shut it down. But it's been fun anyway. What an interesting time we live in with all of this crazy stuff happening. Hopefully you're all preparing. If the world governments are preparing, then I would strongly encourage all of you to be preparing. I'm talking about the whole World War III situation. Whether it's canned food or what, just stuff that at least have that in mind. If there really is going to be a food shortage at some point, which if there's a war around the world, there very well could be, maybe get a bunch of canned stuff that can last a few years. By the way, check the dates if you're buying it from the supermarket. They have a tendency to not last as long as they should. They've been holding on to those cans for a while, so just check the dates. And with that, I better get out of here. I hope you guys enjoyed it while it was still functioning, and we'll have to do this again because I do like sitting up here and talking into this microphone. So it's fun talking with all of you guys. We'll see you guys in the next one. Where is that thing? Yeah, we'll see you guys. We'll see you guys tomorrow. ไฟพะวงหลงเฝ้าสาวเจ้าบางประกงทางห้วยงงหลงเกิ